Sedley Denfield and O'Callaghan. Now, this is a starting point, and it has to do with nuisance and negligence, which is probably the starting point for most of the things we're going to say. Sedley, Denfield and O'Callaghan, 1940. This was a case involving some land which was joined to a monastery, and there was a culvert on the land, and a trespasser, in quotes, I think it was a local highway authority myself, but blocked the culvert with a result that it caused flooding. Now, the argument was, well, who's liable to I hasten to add that this relates to flooding, but it sets the broad principle I'm going to talk about in relation to trees. So if you bear with me on that. So the question was, well, who was liable for the damage caused by the flooding? And it was held that the monastery was, even though they stated that they didn't actually know that the culvert had been blocked up and was causing problems. And this was because the court took the view that the occupier of land continues a nuisance if he has knowledge or presumed knowledge of the existence and fails to take reasonable means to bring it to an end when he has ample time to do so. So the court took the view that the monastery should have inspected their land on a regular basis, and they should have spotted this problem. So it didn't make a difference that the owner said, well, I don't know. They would have known on a reasonable inspection, and you will see how this trickles flooding, no pun intended. This you'll see how this trickles down into the matter of trees in a moment. I think perhaps the point I need to emphasize here is that we've got this clutch of cases which revolve around nuisance and negligence, and they all evolve from a central core of case law, which sets principles, but not necessarily. The facts are obviously case specific, but they set broad principles that inform other aspects of the law. So Sedley Denfield will trickle down to trees, as we'll see in a moment, but it has been applied to things like birds doing their business on the highway and all sorts of things. So, as I say, it's a broad principle.